good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are getting this content at whatever time it is. We're back with another edition, 343. I'm Jason, your host. I'm joined by my co-host, AF. How's it going, brother? How's things going?
Good, man. Good. Can't really complain. The weather's getting nice and chilly, so the jackets come out again.
Jackets are coming out, yeah, 100%.
Have to dust these things off. I see you. You're wearing a nice hoodie there, but you're putting a jersey over it as well.
Yeah, bro. It's also NBA
snowing.
season, bro. Feeling stylish but warm at the same time. I think my mom would be very proud of it.
I respect it, bro. I respect it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a two-man team today, guys. We are the dynamic duo of Dwight York and Andy Cole. Let's just go with iconic pairing. We're coming off.
Are you referring to you? Or you're giving a throwback there to make me feel a bit better about how my team has been performing lately.
100%. I thought,
some nostalgia in. Amazing.
Yeah, let me build you up. Let me take you back to the good old days, and then bring you down when I ask you a few thoughts about Man United in the current state. But yeah, a bit of a different episode for you guys today. We're just gonna chat a bit about the state of the Premier League. And no, not the 115 charges that still need to be sanctioned onto Man City, but rather the league as a whole. I think the season has been something that has been very exciting for all fans. I think the top three title race has been interesting. I think the race for the European spots have been very intriguing. And then the little battle and scrap, from 10 down, I think anything could happen. So I think best we go from bottom up. We've seen a few results. We've seen a few teams get a few results that favored their little position and they pushed to get out of relegation. As it stands, we've got Sheffield, Burnley and Luton in that bottom three. But we also, in this past week, we've been notified that Everton are now going to be docked a further 2 points. So it pushes them a bit closer to that relegation battle in that scrap. The last 7 games, you can't really count on anything. Have you been following any of it, AF? Have you taken note of that? Or you just solely focused on United?
No, so I've been keeping an eye open on the relegation battle because I know that United has some of these teams in their final 7 fixtures or so. So just checking out to see what they've been doing. I'm surprised some of these teams are like in the bottom half or bottom 5. To put it that way, because they're not playing bad football. Luton, I can safely say they've been playing attractive football. They've been resilient at times, but they still find themselves in that danger spot. So it's a bit of a head scratcher. I haven't been following them the entire season, but just over the last 3, 4, 5 games that I've been watching, there's a lot of fight in them. They still don't come home with the result. They'll come home with a point or so. But yeah, it's a weird one. Sheffield United, shame. I think as much heart as they play with, the team quality or the team mentality, put it that way, not really quality, the mentality. I don't think it's at Premier League standard. We had a couple of years ago when they came into the Premier League and they just went all guns blazing, and they ended, I think, in the top 8 or top 9 of the table, which was really overperforming. So I think some people might have thought that, okay, they're coming back into the Premier League again. Maybe they'll try to achieve the similar fate. Chris Wilder came back into the helm. Maybe you can guide them in that same direction again, but it just hasn't happened, and I don't think that they will be able to escape this at all. I think they're going back down. But yeah, I think the teams above them, Burnley, Luton, Everton, Forest, I think it's going to be a scrap between them before the end of the season. And I think we can give our predictions at the end of this discussion of who we think is actually going to go down. But one name that I think is definitely to go down is Sheffield.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on that. And it's the standard trend. We see teams from the championship come up and suddenly it's that massive jump in class. Okay. Whoa. Surprise, surprise. It's like a Royal Rumble here.
Don't mind me, just carry
Welcome
on.
in, Riyaz, in slot number 30. Last 3 standing. How's it going, player?
Good. Thanks, and yourself? You well?
All good, man. All good. Yeah, you joined at a very key time because we're talking about Spurs. I'm kidding. We're not. We're just doing a general overview of the league, and AF was just alluding to Sheffield being his team that's actually going to go down. So I'll give you some time to settle. I'm going to give my thoughts on AF's comments, and I think that we've seen the trend where teams come from the championship and they just about, or they fly through the whole championship. I think if you look at Burnley completely walloped the league last year, and then they come in here and suddenly that brand of football is not as easy to replicate in the Premier League, where the quality is so much better. Where in Championship you just need to show longevity because there's so many more games. The Premier League, it's both longevity and it's quality that you're up against. A surprise for me in that bottom maybe 5 or 6. I think Nottingham have been doing well. I think the results haven't been coming when I look at the table, and for them to only have 7 wins, when you watch them, they play very promising football, and I think they give a lot to the games. But also another one being Brentford. So obviously they were dealt the blow with Ivan Toney. I don't think anybody could have betted on that one. Keep that pun in there for later. But then also key injuries to like Brian Mbeumo in a time when they needed him as well, and then a few key injuries in the back line and midfield, and obviously they lost David Raya to Arsenal. Shout out Brighton. So yeah, I think it's been a surprise to see them there. So Riyaz, just to bring you in here quickly, any surprises for you in that bottom 3 or bottom 6 even, and how the relegation battle almost looks and is set up currently?
Yeah, I think the only 2 surprises for me would be those 2 that you called Nottingham Forest and Brentford. But I suppose in the season so far, Brentford have been riddled with injuries. So I guess it's kind of expected that they're not close, but I mean, they are in the fight at the moment, if we can call it that. And Nottingham Forest, their squad is really good. They have good players, and they just need, I guess, people to come to the party, the defense to stop leaking a bit of goals. And similar to some other teams that are in the league, they need to find a proper, I guess, a playing 11, a consistent playing 11, where they can get used to each other and play every week and kind of grind out results. Because at the moment, I feel like they don't know who their starting 11 is. They have really good players. Even on the bench, they have good enough players that can come off the bench and kind of make an impact. They shouldn't be in the relegation scrap at all. So, but I think I'm going to agree with AF. Of course, I think Sheffield they not good enough for the league, unfortunately. I think Luton have showed a really good grit this season, like a really, really good grit. They might lose 6-0 or whatever. They've never lost 6-0, but they might lose or concede a big amount of goals. But I think that they've shown also in other games that they have grit to stay in the game, to draw 4-4, to draw 3-3, to kind of show some real attitude that they want to be in this league. So I think that stands them in good stead. And it's going to be tough to see who the third team who's going to go down. I think between Brentford, Nottingham, Luton, and Everton. Between the 4 of them, one will go down. And it's going to be really interesting towards the end of the season to see who it's going to be.
Yeah. So then let's you've obviously now given some sort of a prediction, but AF, just jumping back to you. So we had mentioned Sheffield going down. Burnley being only 3 points above them, and Sheffield having a game in hand actually. So if they were to win, they go to joint points with Burnley. Who are your 3 to go down, and who are you hoping actually survives it?
So Sheffield, they're gone. I think Burnley's gone as well. I think Burnley's on 19 points.
Burnley's on 19 points.
19 points. So I think Sheffield and Burnley's gone. And then my third team, I'm hoping for Nottingham Forest to go, mainly because like they spend so much money, and they've now also been the subject of the points deductions and the financial fair play and all those issues. And I've seen so many of their fans on social media talking and tweeting and posting and stuff, and they're not really worried, because they were just like, no, it's okay. Like, the points deduction won't happen because they're going to be changing the rule soon. So in a way, that entire thing is going to try and protect them. So just from that point of view, I hope they lose their games and they actually do get relegated. So that it's not the points deduction that's going to do it; it's going to be the actual play. But from a realistic point of view, I think Everton, because they're getting deducted an extra two points now, and so I think it might be Everton that goes down. But from a bias point of view, I'm hoping that it's Spurs that's going to go down.
Nah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. They also, I think, similar to the model that Fulham had adopted in one of the first seasons when they came up, they spent a massive amount of money on a lot of players that I would consider maybe fringe players that could possibly, I know we always talk about, okay, no, if this fringe player goes to this club, he starts. They've now done that. They've started and it hasn't clicked. So, yeah, they are actually on the same points as Luton. So I'm hoping by some long shot we get to see Luton stay in the Prem. I think it's a wonderful story. I think it's one of the clubs that, I mean, they've been around for a massive amount of time, and I'm not saying that Notts haven't. Nottingham Forest also one of the pioneers of football, English football, in the early 70s, 80s, even before that. But yeah, I think I'd love to see Luton stay up. So if Nottingham go in there, I'm not going to be like the most unhappy. If Everton somehow survives this again, then I genuinely don't know. There must be something in the water there in Merseyside, because I think this could be the third season when they're involved in one of this. And if I was a player involved in a relegation scrap for the third season, I'd actually just like give up, man. Because that's so mentally draining coming to the back end of the season, right? And you have to fight for this all the time. But yeah, we push on a bit further up the table, and we skip a bit just above the relegation battle, and we look at the fight for the European spots. So I think 7th confirms some sort of European football.
Conference League, I think.
Conference League, yeah. It could even be 8th. So we've got from 8th position. Okay, actually, let's go from 9th, because that's where
I think it depends on like finishing spots in the cup as well, like who wins the cup. And
yeah. And I think at this point, we've got West Ham and Liverpool that are in the Europa. We've got Arsenal and City, and then there's nobody in the Conference League. I think Brighton were in there, but they were knocked out, or they were in Europa, one of the two. So yeah, from 9th, we've got Chelsea on 44. They've got 2 games in hand. We've got Newcastle in 8th on 47. We've got West Ham in 7th on 48. And then we've got United in 6th with 49. We stop at 6th just because from 5 and 4, which is Villa and Spurs, they've got 60. So there's a definite big gap between that. And I don't think either Villa or Spurs give up 11 points in this little stretch. Riyaz is maybe turning his head there.
If there's anyone that can do it, it's us. So, we'll see.
Yeah, but in the same breath, if there's anybody that can probably Unai Emre's Aston Villa. And I'm saying this as an Arsenal fan, knowing how it was, and it was very treacherous. It was a very sad time, very dark time. I might start crying on the pod here. But do we see any massive changes between Chelsea, Newcastle, West Ham and United going any further? So right now, we've got West Ham in the Conference League spot. We've got Newcastle and Chelsea pushing. Do we see any changes for that Conference League spot? So we've got 6 and 7. Do Chelsea and Newcastle get in? AF?
I think Chelsea and Newcastle, by some way, they might end up making Europa League.
Okay.
And then we have West Ham going into the Conference League. I think United will still try their best to try to get into that 5th spot, to try and sneak away into the Champions League. And then they still have the cup as well that they can try to play for if they don't get that 5th spot, to get into the Europa League that way as well. So I think Chelsea, Newcastle try to get into Europa, West Ham get into conference, and then United try to push on. I'll let it go to Riyaz, because I think I want to speak a bit more about the top 4 after we're done with this one.
Yeah, yes. Do you see any way? Sorry, just give you a little context there. Do you see any way that Chelsea and Newcastle get into the European spots?
Yeah, for sure. I think that it's so close there. I mean, between United and Chelsea, even to Brighton, it's 6 points between how many teams? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Between 6 teams, it's 6 points. Yeah. So I think anything can happen there in terms of even Wolves. Wolves is 1 point behind that. So I mean, those places are all up for grabs from any of those teams, from United all the way down to Wolves. I think so. I would like Chelsea to do it just because it can put all the haters aside and, just give Pochettino something to go for, I suppose, even though European football is sometimes a distraction to what they actually need. So I guess for Chelsea and maybe for Brighton, they don't really need European football because they need to kind of rebuild something. Brighton have actually been shocking this season compared to last season. They're still playing good football, but the results haven't been the same compared to last season. Last season, they actually got the results with the football that they played because they were playing well and they got the results. But this season, the results just haven't been going their way, unfortunately. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's just maybe last year was just the manager bounce, and this year they're kind of conceding too many goals. But it's going to be very interesting to see who's going to because, like I said, any of those teams can finish sixth even. But I'll agree with AF. I think United are going to go for that fifth spot as best they can. And like you said, Villa, you never know what happens. And Spurs is Spurs. So I think that fourth spot is still up for grabs as well. But we'll see how that goes. Also, I want to say something about that Everton. This is the third year in a row also that even though Everton have been in the fight, it's the third year that both of you have wanted them to go down. Like that. So interesting.
Well, this year I don't want him to go down. I just think that they're going to go down. The team I want to go down is Forest.
Okay, so it's no longer with a Pickford bias here.
Yeah.
No. Okay, yeah. It's that run, and we've spoken about this even for the title challenge and anything. If you string 3 or 4 good wins together, you suddenly frighten all the teams around you because I think there's been a lot of inconsistency, like you say. We see with Brighton. We see with Newcastle as well, also did really well last season, but I think it took their toll. They got a lot of key injuries. I mean, every team gets injuries, but it just seems like, I don't know, it's Eddie Howe, and it's the similar situation with Bournemouth where they can do very well to a point, but I don't know if he has what it takes to push them into the next level of this whole project. I think West Ham, I always commend West Ham because David Moyes does magic. He works magic. I mean, they won? What did they win last year? The Conference League, right? Still European competition. People say as Conference League, you're playing against these alphabet teams, but you still have to go out and beat them. You still have to travel 65,000 miles, and it's probably an exaggeration. Like you have to go where there's a railway running next to the field, or they have to pause at half time.
That's Old Trafford.
Yeah, true. Conference League for United confirmed. But yeah, you still have to go, and it's still a trip. It's still a trek, and you still factor in that they finished in the top half of the table last season, all whilst doing this Conference League. So yeah, my prediction is I think right now United's not showing the consistency that they need to. I think the other teams are going to pick up, and I don't know in terms of the fixture run. And who has
so that's what I want to talk about now.
Yeah, and if the teams in and around each other play each other, actually, because those are the games that you're wanting, right? Because that's when you take points off your nearest competition. But also, it's not going to be easy for teams if they're going to play against teams in the relegation, because we have different segments to this league, and there are different permutations and different clubs that need different things. It builds into a very chock-a-block sort of a season end. But yeah, I think my prediction is I think West Ham might peep United, and I'm sorry to my girlfriend who watches this and hears that. It's nothing personal. Please don't break up.
You.
Yeah, please don't break up with me. It's maybe just a reverse psychology. But yeah, I just think at this moment in time, I don't think United have the consistency that they need. Like, you can't want to lead in so many games and then give it up just at the end. So, yeah, I think that's going to be really vital.
This is just the hurt speaking from Sunday night when
100%.
Jason was a United supporter for 2 hours and he
Let me
got
tell
hurt.
you, it's 2 hours I'll never get back in my life, right? And it took me back to 3 years when I was an Arsenal fan under Unai Emery, and it's a very dark period, okay? If I were to air my journal, you'd see a different side of me, okay? And it took me all the way back there where teams completely dominate us. We get something, and then we just give it away at the end. And it's just, yeah, that cycle. And we've spoken about it.
Yeah.
We know that this is what's going to happen in a period that United are in. But yeah, I'm glad that my loan spell ended after 2 hours because I was going to be thinking some thoughts there, no? But yeah, let's jump to the top four that you had spoken about. So we say top four, but there's a 10-point gap between fourth and third. And then obviously third is Man City at 70, Liverpool and Arsenal on 71. Yeah, I would have liked Man United to win, but I'm not going to be greedy. We obviously now need to do what we need to do. Riyaz, just from your perspective, because I'm going to get AF's Man United perspective. Yeah, what is that game on Sunday? What is that outcome like? Yeah, I can't even ask the questions, but what are your thoughts on that game and then just leading into the top four race?
The Liverpool United game?
Yeah.
Well, United had no shots in the first half. And then somehow in the second half, they drew 2-2. So we'll take it, you know. It gets Liverpool off the top perch. And we can't ask for more than that, surely. I mean, Arsenal are now on the top. I mean, we can't expect United to have no shots and then actually win a game. So they did well. They got a lucky first goal and an amazing second goal from the youngster that we've been talking about all season. So I think they did pretty well to get a result. And, you know, yeah, we can't expect much. I mean, we say that they grind out results against smaller teams. We can't expect them to grind out results against the bigger teams because that just doesn't equate. So they did well for how they are playing, for having no midfield, for conceding shots like 20 billion shots every half of football. Yeah. They got 2 goals and we got a draw, and Liverpool are no longer on top. So we have to be happy about that, Jason, unfortunately. But yeah, the top four race kind of it depends on the fixtures. It all depends on the fixtures. Like the Spurs have to play the top 3 in the last 7 games or 6 games. How much is it? 7 games, yeah. 7. And Villa also, they play Arsenal this weekend still. I think their fixture list is a bit hectic. I don't know what United fixture list. I'm going to wait for AF to tell me that now. But I feel like I'm not sure exactly how the taking 6 points off the other person if you beat them works. But I'm pretty sure Spurs are still in the title race. 10 points off the top, and we play all 3 teams. I feel like if we I don't know how it works exactly. If my math
is this bit fasting hard today or something?
You know, it's possible.
Break it more soon, yeah.
It's possible.
That's the same Brana that was talking about how, he's just happy if his team gets fourth. Now he's saying a title race, they take points off. I mean, bold, bro.
I like the optimism.
I'm just saying it's possible. It's obviously not going to happen. I was thinking about it the other day, and I'm like, if we didn't lose to Fulham, it could have actually been possible. We could have actually if we won all the 3 games, we'd be in the hunt, like about 3 points off the top, and I mean that's good enough, But obviously it's not going to happen. So I just hope that we end fourth, that the fourth will be good enough, and as long as United doesn't come back and do daylight robbery, I'm happy because they honestly don't deserve it. I mean, Aston Villa deserve it more than they do, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, saying that if you win, you win, and they've been winning throughout the season. And so that's the important part. They've been winning, no matter how they've been winning. They've been winning, and they can still do it if their fixture list is better than ours, which it probably is, because I think our fixture list is the worst out of the top 6.
I think Villa's is the worst.
It's the worse than ours.
Yeah.
Villa played City already, right?
I can read the fixtures out now. Just give me a second. So Villa has Arsenal, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Brighton, Liverpool, Palace. So Bournemouth, Palace, you'd expect them to win those, but the other 4 are touch and go. I mean, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, Brighton. Those are 4 games that.
Nah, man. I think Spurs have worse, man, because they have. I mean,
Villa's
Villa obviously just played Man City, right?
Yeah. Spurs has Newcastle.
Yeah.
Home or away?
Newcastle, Arsenal, Liverpool,
Away.
Burnley, Sheffield. So
they have City still.
No.
That needs to be rescheduled. So there's a FA Cup game that will obviously come up now, blank game week, and that fixture. So they've got the top 3. So the 3 people that they're competing against for title race.
So it's going to be touch and go. United's fixtures are Newcastle. That still they have to find a spot for that one. In Bournemouth, Sheffield, Burnley, Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Brighton. So we have all three teams chilling at the bottom, and then obviously Arsenal, who's going to play like their life depends on it.
7 finals, baby, 7 finals.
Yeah, just like it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be a crazy run in, but I think United has the easier run. But even so, like we've seen United against the weaker teams, like with all due respect, the weaker teams this season, and they make hard work out of it, anyways. So it's not like it's not like we're playing Sheffield, Burnley, and who's the other team at the bottom? Crystal Palace. Yeah, Palace.
Crystal Palace, I mean, Crystal Palace is underperforming, also looking for that magical.
So it's not like we're playing them and you can guarantee that's 9 points in the bag. You can't. United's been throwing away leads this entire season. And just on that, I think whoever United plays, it's like contagious because they played Brentford, they gave in and they lost the lead. Brentford went to Villa, they were leading as well, and then they conceded very late in the game. And then they played against Chelsea. The exact same thing happened. They gave up their lead at the end. Chelsea won 4-3. Chelsea went on to Sheffield, and then they gave up an equalizer in the 94th, 95th minute, and then Sheffield drew 2-2. So I'm hoping that contagiousness goes against Liverpool, and then Liverpool's next match they also concede late in the game to equalize or lose. That's just me being optimistic.
I take that optimism, right? And also I'm going to take a bit of Riyaz's optimism. And it's, I mean, look, I still have some PTSD, not just from last season, but from seasons when I was in high school and Arsenal were leading by March already, and then suddenly, boom, out of the Champions League, out of the title race, Cesc Fabregas is injured, and then suddenly Robin van Persie is injured, and then we finish 4th, and we still make Champions League, great. Good on Wenger, he was laughed at, and now suddenly people are competing for top 4. Like if we get 4th, we'll be okay. So yeah, we were in that banter era. The fixtures now, I think everybody wants to stake their claim in the story. So anybody that Arsenal play against, they are going to, I mean, besides everybody fighting for points, it's like if you're able to take points off any of the top 3, you then say, I've played a decisive role in this title run. And we dubbing this as the most exciting title run to have recently. I think probably in the most recent years. I mean, extra team, but also in the 2-man race when it was City and Liverpool, when Liverpool played a near perfect season and then City still managed to beat them. That was also pretty bloody exciting. But yeah, I think there's still a lot to be played for in these last 7 games. And it's crazy to think that the season that started in August is now down to 7 games. The top 3 teams still have European football. I'm a bit thankful that Arsenal play on a Tuesday and a Wednesday and not a Thursday. I think that does play a factor into it. It does stretch your squad a bit when you play the Thursday night and then you maybe travel the Saturday or the Friday or something, or you travel the Thursday evening in terms of recovery and the stress of the situation and this time of the season. I said that in previous episodes. I said if we can overcome the little banana skins, right? So it's the Spurs game, which can be anything. It can be Spurs that turned up against City that had that never say die attitude, or it can be the Spurs that showed up against Fulham and Fulham just completely walked them, right? Or it can be a Spurs that's just ready to compete. I think in recent games, Spurs go down at halftime or they're drawing at halftime, and then second half you just have like a completely different thing. So I think we need to do doping there in that side of North London. But yeah, it could be anything. And if we overcome that, I think the Chelsea game can also be a banana skin. Just because you genuinely don't know which Chelsea team turns up. They can be the team that played against Sheffield that give away 2 goals and just completely are playing this open brand of football. And then, like we've seen previously, it can be the Chelsea that turn up against City that don't fear anything and they take it directly to them. And I don't think Arsenal deal well with teams that come at them, teams that start pressing. I think we saw it in the round of 16 game, Porto didn't give us an inch, and I think that's the best way. And I think when you think back to City's run, teams that pressed them, and I think that's what Liverpool did very well in the seasons when they were challenging, really challenging. If you don't give them the respect that they think every team should give them, suddenly it's a different game. So yeah, I'm still very nervous, but I said previously, and I think I'll stand by it, if we're able to overcome the Spurs hurdle and we're able to get a positive result, and I spoke about a positive result being a draw win, and they'll be able to beat the Chelsea, I think I'm going to put another banana skin in that United second last game, just because I spoke to AF about this before. We've got, if we're able, by some long shot, to overcome Bayern as well, which is a completely different thing, we'll have either Man City or Real Madrid before that Man United game. So then it comes to, okay, what are the real targets here? Is it going to be Champions League or is it going to be Prem? So we haven't won a Champions League, but we haven't won a Prem in 20 years. It's the 20th year anniversary since we last won it. So there's a lot riding there. So yeah, I think if we overcome those 2 games and then possibly the United one, fingers crossed, toes crossed. I've got my whole street doing this for me, even if they're not Arsenal fans. Yeah, we can.
Champions League is just a shit show, isn't it? It just provides such a roadblock into your shit show.
Yeah,
look, I guess that's where the deep squads come from, right?
Yeah,
100%. And it's also the mentality to go deep. So in the last few seasons, we've had Man City and Liverpool being able to go. City obviously better than most because they've got Avengers-like squad that has been assembled. It's just whether last season has meant anything to Arsenal, if we've changed that mentality of actually we're not going to give it up.
It looks like we have.
Yeah,
it looks like it. Yeah.
End of the year, you guys have looked the real deal. I mean, we spoke previously about how you guys dropped off in December, and then you came back from that UAE holiday, and they looked like they just needed to get their head screwed on straight, and they've been doing the business ever since.
The only difference is I guess that they didn't have Champions League last season, and now they have Champions League as well. So that might be also a bit of a difference. But the headspace, I think, is there. So I think you guys can manage it. Say that through gritted teeth. I'm not sure, but we'll see.
It's very and then like I said, it's just I'm very apprehensive to stake a claim, but I think I'll say it if we can get through the Spurs and the Chelsea. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping we're not going to slip on all the other ones. These are games that we should have won. And I think back, if I could go back, I'm not going to say I wouldn't go to the UK, but I wouldn't put so much thought on trying to get a ticket to go watch the game, because it's because of that we lost those 2 games, and I don't think I live with myself.
It's your fault. You caused all the negative.
I don't believe in all of that, right? I'm not very superstitious, but these are the cold hard facts. I believe in facts, and this is what has happened.
And I'm sorry, Jason, to interrupt you. I'm just looking at Liverpool's fixtures, and they definitely have the easiest run-in from the top 3. So they have Palace, Fulham, Everton, West Ham, and then they have Spurs, Villa, and Wolves. So it's not. There aren't a lot of teams in there that can actually push Liverpool.
They should win all the games.
So basically, Arsenal need to make sure that they win everything. It's going to be crazy if Arsenal pull this off. Now, like you guys, like I said it at the start of the season, I wanted Arsenal to win, but I think for the last couple of weeks, I have to just like borrow, like Zips' family, they're all Arsenal supporters. I might have to just cop a jersey from one of them just to show some support there.
Come visit me. I'm gonna give you a maroon O2 jersey. Okay. Still says Ivory on it.
Is there a Van Persie one? Maybe I can take the Van Persie off my United jersey.
Yeah, literally. I was about to say.
And then just like put it over there.
Yo, that brand. Okay.
I think guys, we'll do one better. We'll do one better, and we'll just beat Liverpool, and we will lose to you. How about that? That sorts you out one time.
Perfect. And then do what you normally do against City, and just take some sort of a point off them.
Well, they beat us last time, so.
No, wasn't it 3-3, man?
Maybe I'm thinking about the cup. Maybe I'm thinking about
yeah. I think it was cup, but I mean, you guys scored right at the end. I think it was a Kulusevski header or something at Etihad. So, yeah, maybe the difference there.
Don't worry about City too much.
Yeah.
No, look in all seriousness, like just to go back to Liverpool for a hot minute, like the injuries like have been quite decisive this season, and I think Alisson might be coming back for the last like 5 games or something. I'm not sure. I think I read that somewhere on Twitter. And then a lot of the defenders have made a return now. Also, Konate was on the bench. He didn't get to start against United once it started. But I think a lot of them are slowly coming back. Jota is back this weekend as well, so that's an extra attacking threat for them. I think Darwin drops off because he's been absolutely shocking of late. So yeah, I think the firepower is coming back, the experience is coming back.
Yeah.
So that's another factor to add into the mix to make sure that we're not writing Liverpool off just because Arsenal are having a good run or anything like that. Because Liverpool's coming back much stronger for the last 7 games. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a box office finish, and I'm here for it.
We're not saying that we're not writing Liverpool off at all. In fact, we're saying they're favorites. In all honesty, we are saying they're favorites because of the fixture list. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah, but if we don't, guys, I'm going to tell you now, and if Arsenal manage to pull this off, I want us to call Liverpool bottlers, okay? Because they had a lead and they didn't do anything with it. You can clip that. But also...
But wait, hold on. I'm going to play devil's advocate quick fast and say that how is it bottlers? You can't bottle the league if you're actually not on top. You were on top. They were on top for like 1-2 weeks, and it's like 3 teams like kind of circulating the top. Arsenal were on top for like 16 billion years.
Look, I think Liverpool have been on top. It's like, hasn't it been Jan or something? Because they had like a... I think they had
a prolonged spell on top,
Yeah, they had a prolonged spell. Okay, Arsenal last season was a completely different gravy, right? We were on top for 8
by a lot of points as well. That's the important part. I'm not saying that either team are bottlers, but you can't put Liverpool in the bottlers section.
No, I'm gonna put them there because 100%. They had a lead, and I think that's what. So that's how silly that narrative is, right?
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, so it speaks to a larger issue of how suddenly we have this bottlers title. Like, I mean, bro, the year that City won it over United had like a 9-point lead or something like that at a stage. But it was never about bottling. It was, okay, City came from behind, and okay, it's just so suspicious, right? I mean, Mancini's win. This 115 charges starts from his reign already, which... Yeah, it's a bit, if you want to talk about touch and go, that's one of it. But I'm just wanting to be a bit controversial, and I think I'm going to stick to it. But that's only if Arsenal win. If they don't, then, I mean, kudos to Liverpool, bro. It's Klopp's last season. There's a whole lot of factors that have been thrown into this race. And, I think they've been on the wrong end on a few decisions, but I also think they've gotten a lot. Certain decisions have gone in their favor I mean, City did it every year. I think City is the only team that don't get a few shocking decisions. They get a lot of things. I think about the Rodri handball at Everton. I think about, there's a few title run-ins, where they're calling offside and it's not really offside and stuff like that. But I think everybody gets a chance to get, excuse my language, to get shafted by this VAR system. And yeah, I think Liverpool have had, but I think every team has had. And yeah, that's where I'll stop it. I don't want to go any further because we can talk long. We will be able to talk longer. Sorry. English airtime's running out, so that's also definitely a reason to stop. But yeah, shot for this, guys. We're not going to touch on Champions League. Let's just keep it in our minds, but not talk about it. AF, where can the people find it?
Wait. Before we go to that, did we finalize who our top four, who gets the fourth spot? I don't think we finalized on that.
I don't think we spoke about that, but okay. Off the top, I'm gonna say Spurs get fourth. They'll do enough to keep it. I think I've seen enough from them for them to maintain that fourth spot.
I'm thinking Spurs fourth as well, and then I'm hoping for United fifth, but the points gap is too big for them to make that up. So I think Spurs, Villa, United.
Yeah, I didn't think that it was necessary to actually kind of identify who we were going to choose, because I thought top four was actually kind of over. Just to be arrogant.
But Spurs they're in the title run, so yeah.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So maybe City gets, and then
Oh, that's true. I'll take that actually. But no, I'm still going to go from what I said at the beginning of the season. I think United will get fourth, and that's just the way it is.
Okay. Now let's
just doing some mental math.
Yeah. Let's clip all of those predictions and let's see where we get at the end of the season. But yeah, that's a wrap on that. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me, guys. Riyaz, thanks for popping in, bro.
Sorry, I was late.
Where can the people find you so they can tell you that we have a recording and you must be on time?
Yeah, you can tell me on what. No, I'm not going to give my WhatsApp number. You can get me on Twitter at Parker_Riyaz and at Instagram at RiyazParker7 as well. Okay,
perfect. AF, same old.
Yeah, AF Parker642 on everything. Yeah, just go to a social media platform, type in that name or that handle, and you'll find me.
Yeah, perfect. I'm Jason_Ronnie. And we are at Sporticast on most of the platforms. We thank you once again for the support, for the love. Every like, every share, every favorite of video, it's not going unnoticed. We send all of our updates in the group. So when we see something different on our trends, we really are celebrating it. So we are thankful for the support. For all the golf lovers, we will be covering a bit of Masters this week as well. So if you have anything, interact with us on X. We might do a few threads as well. Thanks for the support and thanks, guys, for joining. And I'll catch you next week. Cheers.